This is a full story. Hidden wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. The year I was on the brink of bankruptcy, my beloved wife suddenly asked me for a divorce. She said she couldn't stand living in poverty with me anymore. No matter how I begged, she was determined to leave, not even sparing a glance for our newborn daughter. Later, I learned she had abandoned us to return to her first love. I gave up completely, stopped trying to reach her. 5 years after our separation, I had made my fortune and climbed back to the top. On an ordinary evening, I suddenly received a call from Haley. She had lost her memory and called me in that familiar gentle tone. "Hubby." I answered an unfamiliar number. It was my ex-wife who had been missing for 5 years. In the same tone I knew too well, she said over the phone, "Hubby, I'm at the People's Hospital." It was a little past 6 in the evening. When I arrived at the hospital, a police officer contacted me. They had received a hit-and-run report, but the victim carried no ID. She had a concussion and was diagnosed with temporary amnesia. She vaguely remembered only her name, home address, and her spouse's name. The victim was my ex-wife. We hadn't seen each other in 5 years. I reached the door of her hospital room. Haley was eating. She had always been meticulous and cared about appearances, but now she looked disheveled and worn out. Her right hand was injured and wrapped in gauze. She was struggling to feed herself with her left hand. Before the spoon reached her mouth, the food spilled onto her chest. Annoyed, Haley threw down the spoon and used a tissue to wipe the mess. Then she turned and saw me. Her eyes lit up. "Hubby." I stood still at the doorway, just staring at her. She really had lost her memory. Her mind was stuck at the time, when we had just gotten married and were deeply in love. Haley was the typical princess from a wealthy family. She lost her father early, and her mother remarried. Her grandfather was the only one who ever truly cherished her. When the old man passed away, she sobbed in my arms, crying, "Rocky, I have nothing left. Please don't leave me too." Everyone said Haley was just playing around with me, warned me not to fall too deep. But after her grandfather died, she abandoned everything, betrayed her family, and came to the city where I was born and raised. Eventually, we built a home of our own. When she found out she was pregnant, Haley was overjoyed. She was glowing with happiness, and we placed our joined hands over her still flat belly. She said, "Rocky, I'm finally going to have a real family." But not long after the baby was born, my business hit rock bottom. At the most difficult moment of my life, she couldn't take it anymore. She left a divorce agreement and went off with her first love, leaving me with a wailing infant and a phone that would never connect again. Haley remembered none of this. That's why she couldn't understand why I was so cold and distant toward her. "Rocky." She reached out with her left hand, pinched my forearm like she used to, and glared at me. "What's with that dead look on your face? Your wife's injured. Don't you even know how to comfort her?" The pain woke my numb heart. I lowered my gaze and saw the dried blood still on her delicate fingers. There were scrapes on her arms and even her chin, yet her beauty was undiminished. She must have lived comfortably. Those 5 years hadn't left a mark on her face. "Do you know your current situation?" She blinked in confusion and nodded. "The doctor says your memory stopped around 6 years ago." I shoved my hands into my pockets. "It's 2024 now, Haley. We've been divorced for 5 years. "Divorced?" She looked utterly shocked. "We got divorced." "Did you cheat?" I gave a bitter smirk. "No. You asked for it." "That's impossible." She immediately denied it. "Unless you betrayed me first. I'd never file for divorce." I let out a scoff. The same woman who said at our wedding that her greatest wish was to grow old with me turned around and handed me divorce papers. As soon as news of her first love's divorce reached her, no matter how I searched for her, how humbly I left messages or called, nothing brought her back. In the end, I found her aunt, and through her I finally reached Haley. She told me over the phone, "I know I've wronged you. When I was young, I thought love was everything. Only when I truly suffered did I realize money matters most. Stop pestering me. Let me go. Rocky, I can't suffer with you anymore. Even now, thinking of that time still hurts like hell." That's how it was. I placed a bank card on the table. "The assets you left behind, I grew them into something big. There's money in this card. Take it as thanks for not burning all bridges back then. That's it. Let's not contact each other again." I turned and left without looking back. Behind me, Haley stumbled off the bed, chasing after me. "Rocky, Rocky, stop." I heard the nurses shouting, "Calm down, calm down." 3 or 4 people tried to restrain her, her eyes red and helpless. She cried out, "Rocky, don't leave me." A nurse yelled at me, "Family, come calm her down." I curled my lips coldly. "I'm her ex-husband. She has nothing to do with me anymore." I didn't go back to see Haley again. I gave the police a brief explanation, then refused to respond to anything about her. I never answered unfamiliar numbers. Haley and I were from 2 different worlds. Back then I foolishly thought I could reach for the moon in the sky. The price I paid was too steep. Even now I wake from nightmares. The dream has long ended. She walks her path, and I walk mine. But Haley didn't see it that way. A week later, I found her at my doorstep. It was raining. Thunder rolled across the sky. She looked like a stray dog, hair damp, hugging her knees, pathetically sitting outside my door. The housekeeper had called me 10 minutes earlier, saying a strange woman was looking for me. I checked the security camera. It was Haley. When I walked up, she lifted her head from between her knees. When she saw me, her eyes showed a mix of hurt and anger. She tried to stand, but failed twice. I reached out, helping her to her feet. She seemed thinner than a week ago. Her face was pale, her chin sharp, like a child who had done something wrong. She looked both aggrieved and timid. I have nowhere to go. You can return to the H family. What for? She reached for my hand, her eyes wide with fear. That hasn't been my home for a long time. You're all I have left. I laughed. Come on, princess. You just have to make one call, and a fleet of luxury cars will come pick you up. Stop clinging to me. Whatever you're planning, it's pointless. I pulled my hand away, ready to open the door. Then I heard Haley say, I only remember us just getting married. I woke up, and everything had changed. I don't know exactly what happened, but the way you treat me, it's really not fair. If you won't take me in, fine, I'll go to the rooftop and end it all right now. I didn't move. Then I heard her footsteps fading away, hesitating only for a moment. I gritted my teeth and ran after her. I was a step too late. The elevator doors were closing, her figure disappearing into the narrow gap. The elevator ascended slowly. Haley was passionate and impulsive. When she lost her temper, she truly might do something foolish. I didn't dare wait. I rushed into another elevator. The door to the rooftop was open. The storm was raging outside. I saw her figure walking into the rain. My heart leapt to my throat. Stop right there. She didn't. She ran straight for the edge. Haley, take one more step, and I won't even collect your body. She stopped in her tracks and looked back, her long hair soaked by the rain and plastered to her face. With grievance in her voice, she said, You were never this mean to me before. I let out a bitter laugh. So you still remember how it used to be. You're my ex now. Why should I keep tolerating you? Come here. She stood in the rain staring at me for a moment, then reached her hand out. My chest tightened. I kept a straight face and pulled her down with me. Haley followed behind me in silence, until we got inside. When she suddenly hugged me from behind, I'm sorry, Rocky. She walked around to face me, her eyes rimmed red. To me, we just got married. We registered on Chishi Festival. Our marriage certificate still felt warm in my hands. We were planning our honeymoon, to Bali to New Zealand. Then I wake up. You say we're divorced. I was still texting you about dinner on the way home. You said you wanted spicy hot pot. For a moment, I felt dazed. Memories rushed back like a flood. She wanted to say more, but the door suddenly swung open, and a child ran out interrupting her. Daddy. Alice bounced out holding a toy, and when she saw Haley, she froze in place staring blankly. Haley froze too. Who's this child? My daughter. Alice looked like me, except for her eyes, they were just like hers. But Haley seemed to have no recollection of ever having a child. She stared at Alice completely pale. Alice hid behind me, peeking out cautiously. I stroked her head gently. Haley, it doesn't matter when your memory stopped. What matters is now. We're already separated. Her face turned even paler. You remarried? No. Haley's face slightly relaxed. But I will soon. Her expression tensed, as if she were about to shatter. I held Alice's hand and led her back to her room. When I returned, Haley was still standing there, soaked to the bone, dripping water onto the floor, not moving, not speaking. Sit down first. I sighed and brought her a chair. I'll have someone bring over some clothes. Seeing her this broken, of course it hurt, but now I just felt numb. I didn't even know how to face her anymore. Her sudden reappearance felt surreal. The child is our daughter. She blinked in shock. I gave birth to her. Yes, but you left her. She cut herself off, clutched her chest, and took a deep breath. Let's not talk about this yet. Let me catch my breath. Alice, ever curious, quietly opened the door to peek outside. Their eyes met. After so long apart, mother and daughter saw each other again. But absurdly, they didn't recognize one another. After Haley left, I only managed to reach her once. Even when our child cried, her voice hoarse. She showed no hint of love. She left, and nothing could make her stay. Now she stood in front of me again, pathetically asking, Can I stay for the night? Alice had always known she had a mom. She'd seen Haley's photos, but the word abandonment was too cruel for a child. She shouldn't grow up under a shadow, shouldn't suffer for our failed relationship. I never hid Haley's existence, nor did I badmouth her. Alice recognized Haley's face and was full of curiosity, but she was shy by nature, not the kind to run up and say hi. I let Haley stay. That night, I barely slept. Just before dawn, I finally drifted off, only to be woken soon after by sounds from the living room. I opened the door and smelled food. Breakfast had been simply prepared. Haley was clumsily pouring milk into Alice's cup. Alice, sitting properly at the table, took it with both hands and politely said, Thank you, Auntie. Outside, the rain had stopped. Sunlight poured in brightly. The scene felt like a dream. Haley turned and looked at me. Rocky. I turned and went back to my room. shutting the door on her voice. I picked up my phone and dialed the number I couldn't reach last night. This time it rang for a long while. Then someone finally answered. Hello, a sleepy woman's voice. Miss Mary, this is Rocky. Rocky, she sounded surprised. Is something wrong? I got straight to the point. Haley's here with me. She's lost her memory. Please come and take her back. There was a long silence. I stared at my phone. Hello, are you still there? Yes. She hesitated. You said who's with you? Haley. She came back. Her tone became excited. Add me on WeChat, send me your photo. After Haley and I got together, she cut ties with the H family and most of her old friends. She said they were just playmates, no real connections. Mary was one of the few she actually cared about. After Haley left, I lost touch with everyone from her world. Our marriage, our child, became a black mark, completely severed. After adding Mary, I forwarded her the video and photos from my neighbor. She replied with a voice message. Send me your location. I'll fly over. Then another one. Keep her there. And don't tell her I'm coming. Alice finished her breakfast, packed her little backpack, put on her hat and water bottle, and waited on the couch for me to take her to school. Haley looked at Alice, then looked at me. Alice, let's go. Alice ran over to hold my hand. Haley followed along. Where are you going? To kindergarten. Haley hesitated. Can I come with you? Alice gave my fingers a little squeeze, hinting for me to say yes. Haley sat in the front seat, quietly watching the city go by. While waiting at a red light, I noticed how she tried to appear calm, but couldn't hide her anxiety. The city had changed a lot over the years. The skyline looked completely different. After dropping Alice off, we got back in the car. Haley leaned back in the seat, her face showing a trace of despair. She asked, Why did we divorce? I smiled faintly. That's something you should ask yourself. You had two people in your heart. Being with me must have felt exhausting. Haley turned to me frowning. What are you talking about? When I didn't answer, she pressed again. Can we talk? I was tired. You're the Haley from over 6 years ago. What could we talk about? Love or betrayal? Her expression froze. She bent down holding her head in her hands. She looked so lost. I looked away. I'll take you back. Then her warm hand caught my wrist. Can I stay with you a little longer? I won't ask anything. I just want to be near you. Rocky. In the hospital, I kept having nightmares, dreams of you walking away. No matter how I screamed, you never turned back. A tear rolled down her cheek. Even just for a few hours. I don't want to be alone. Haley followed me to the office. Years ago, she left everything in Washington, gave up her inheritance, and followed me to my hometown to start over. When we got married, our company was still small, just barely surviving. After the divorce, she gave up all her shares and assets, walked away with nothing. She was the kind to give everything when she loved you. And when she stopped, she'd leave without hesitation. She left at the worst time in my life, while I was raising a baby, trying to keep the company afloat, and applying for loans everywhere. The pressure nearly killed me. I even thought about jumping off a building, but I didn't dare. If it weren't for a few loyal partners, I wouldn't have made it. Now things were better, not rich, but stable. The company focused on design. We'd moved locations, doubled in size, but we kept the same name. A name Haley and I chose together. Wish fulfilled. People used to laugh at how cheesy it sounded, but Haley would explain seriously that it was the one phrase that perfectly captured our happiness, love, family, career, all in one. Years later, Haley stood in my office, gazing at the logo. She stared at it for a long time. Then a knock came at the door. One of my partners came in with some documents. Rocky, could you take a look and sign this? She met eyes with Haley, nodded and smiled politely. I introduced them. Gloria, my partner. Haley. Gloria had heard the name of my ex-wife, but never met her. She reached out her hand. Mr. Rocky. Haley shook it, smiling slightly. Just call me Haley. Gloria. We go way back, no need to be formal. Gloria and I both froze, exchanging a glance. Go way back. Senpai. I don't know her. I really don't. I swear to God this is the first time I've ever seen her. Gloria nearly raised her hand in oath. You know, my education, high school to graduation, I was abroad. Before that, I lived in Hyben for elementary and middle school. How would I ever cross paths with someone from Washington? She thought for a moment. Why don't you ask her? Maybe we went to the same kindergarten. I was speechless. Who would call a kindergarten classmate their senior? Back at the office, Haley waited until the afternoon before asking sourly what she couldn't win you over in college. So now she's come to the company to keep trying. I looked up from the file. What nonsense are you talking about? How could I possibly have known Gloria back in college? She curled her lips. Don't think I've forgotten everything. Back when I was chasing you, she was hanging around too. Always going senior this and senior that, clinging to you. She clearly never gave up. Even your marriage and child didn't stop her. Haley, I warned, my tone sharpening. Stop making things up. We dated for 2 years in college. If you haven't forgotten that, then surely you'd know if anyone else was involved, wouldn't you? She froze, as if she couldn't understand what I'd said. I continued. Gloria was abroad the entire time. We didn't even know each other. Don't go spreading lies about her in the company. If rumors get out, who's going to compensate for her reputation? Impossible, she argued, still doubtful. Maybe you remembered it wrong. I couldn't be bothered. If you won't listen, then just leave. Haley instantly deflated. A message popped up on the phone on my desk. My flight lands at 7 tonight. Make time to meet. Mary had arrived, but she hadn't come alone. With her was Haley's first love, that name that haunted me like a nightmare. Tony. When I was dating Haley, I'd heard the name Tony. Once I overheard her talking to a friend. Tony's getting married to his foreign girlfriend. I know, Haley had replied. I won't be attending. No time off. I'll give you the wedding gift to deliver. Her friend teased. Really, you're letting go? The prince you secretly loved for years is marrying someone else. Haley retorted. Go away. Like he's the only man in the world. She walked out of the room and bumped into me. There was a flash of awkwardness on her face. She must have guessed I overheard. But Haley never brought it up. She smoothed it over like nothing happened. I kept my doubts buried. But the longer they festered, the more warped they became. I was jealous. I wanted to know who this prince really was. But I couldn't bring myself to ask. Because of Tony, Haley and I had a weird period of friction. She knew I was mad, but not why. In the end, she got me drunk, and I spilled my jealousy in a drunken haze. Haley found it funny, but was also smug. She hugged me and sighed. Back when I was young, I did have a vague crush on him, but nothing ever happened, and I got over it long ago. If I really liked him, would I have just silently admired him for years? He just went abroad, not to Mars. A plane ticket isn't that expensive. I didn't explain it to you, because there was nothing real between us. It would have been weird to bring it up out of the blue. I was convinced. I never imagined it would be Tony. That vague barely started Tony. Who'd deliver the final blow? Night had fallen. Lights gradually came on. Haley, dozing lightly on the sofa, was stirred by the sound of a chair being pushed. She opened her sleepy eyes, looked toward the window, sat up, and yawned, rubbing her eyes, reaching her hand toward me. When did I fall asleep? What's for dinner, honey? Her outstretched hand received no response. She blinked as if only then remembering where she was. She hesitated, then withdrew her hand. Where's Alice? Aren't we picking her up? It's so late. She walked beside me, trying to make conversation. It was already past office hours. The building was silent. I pressed the elevator button. Alice is with a friend. Haley. I looked at her. You wanted to know why we divorced. Good timing. I need to confirm that answer too. Her face changed. What answer? I don't want to go. We arrived half an hour late. When the door opened, the two people inside stood up at once. I nodded to Mary, then looked at the man beside her. My first impression was cultured. Were rimless glasses. Exactly the type Haley used to like. He looked past me in anticipation, his face dropping when he saw no one. Where's Haley? Didn't you say she was with you? Mary was watching me too. I turned toward the door. You're not coming in. It's your old friends Mary and Tony. Haley stepped into the room, as hesitant as a shy child. The man behind us rushed forward, shoved past me, stopped just one step from her. Haley. He threw his arms around her, as if he'd found a lost treasure. He held her face tenderly, fingertips brushing over the scab on her brow. Where did you go? You scared me to death, you know that. Why did you disappear without a word? I nearly went mad looking for you. Tony hugged her again tight. You scared me. Don't ever do that again. You don't know how worried I was. His string of frantic words was met with Haley's wide-eyed terror. She struggled hard, trying to push him away. Tony, are you crazy? Let go of me. But he wouldn't. His arms clung tight around her waist. What a pitiful pair. I crossed my arms and watched coldly. Haley shoved harder, panicking. Tony, let go of me. What do you think you're doing? Rocky, are you an idiot? Help me. I didn't move. Mary, equally stunned for a moment, finally rushed forward to pull Tony away. Tony's emotions hadn't calmed. His eyes stayed glued to Haley. She backed up to my side, patted the spot where he had touched her, clutched my sleeve, her voice low and trembling. What's going on? Mary took a deep breath, pulled out a chair. Let's sit down and talk. I'd like to understand too. After the divorce, Haley left the country with Tony. Rumor had it Tony had depression, tried to end his life several times. Haley had been with him abroad all these years, helping him recover. Only Tony knew what Haley had been through. He was emotionally unstable, gazing at her with deep affection, as he slowly revealed the story. Some time ago, he had a depressive episode and left Haley without warning to return to China. Haley chased after him, eventually flying back too. Then she had an accident, lost her memory. That was the story Tony told, dramatic, even vague in parts. After his emotional outburst, he looked pale. He nodded politely at me. Sorry, Mr. Rocky. I caused you trouble? He turned to Haley. Haley backed away like he was a monster. She pushed her chair and stood up. I don't believe you. I would never divorce Rocky for you, and I would never leave him and our child. But this is the truth. You just don't remember. Tony stepped toward her again. Haley shouted, stay back. I feel sick just looking at you. I stepped between them. Mr. Tony. Before I could finish, Haley grabbed my wrist, panicked. Let's go. Don't believe a word he says. But she had barely taken a few steps when she staggered and collapsed right before my eyes. The doctor said it was too much emotional strain. Her brain couldn't handle it and shut down. Tony refused to leave her bedside. Mary was helpless, tried to talk some sense into him. When it didn't work, she gave up and came outside for air. I was about to leave, but she asked to talk. We stood by the flower bed. She offered me a cigarette. Have you had contact with Haley these years? She was the one who used to tease Haley about not letting go of Tony. I gave a half smile. You think she'd reach out to me? She looked irritated. When I didn't take the cigarette, she pocketed it without lighting up. It's all just weird. Anything else? If not, I'm going. Tony said she's been abroad with him all these years. Mary hesitated. After she left with him, she cut everyone off. She never came back once. Never told us where she was. I said. Same thing happened when she was with me. Whenever something got in her way, she cut off all ties. I buried the tight ache in my chest and spoke coldly. No contact isn't strange. She loved Tony so much she followed him overseas. What's a few more sacrifices? Tony suddenly interrupted. She's not like that. You're her husband. You know her best. I retorted. Then what do you think happened? Back then she left with Tony. I asked you to pass a message, and you told me yourself she left with him, and now you're trying to take it back. Doesn't that just make you look ridiculous? We parted unhappily. While I was waiting for the elevator, someone stumbled out behind me. Rocky. It was Haley. She leaned against the wall, gasping for air. Her eyes were locked on me, her face pale as a sheet, her pupils clouded with tears. Rocky, she cried again, reaching toward me, like a drowning person reaching for the last branch. My chest ached. Before I could move, Tony was at her side again. Haley, calm down. I stared at her. 1 second, 2, 3. She didn't push him away. Hey, what was I expecting? I turned away and stepped into the elevator. Friday, I took Alice on an outing. On the way back, she was incredibly happy. Gloria bought her a toy, and she clung to it all the way home. The toy had a switch. When pressed, it would sing Alice's favorite nursery rhyme. When we stepped out of the elevator, she pressed it again. The cheerful tune started playing. Alice walked ahead of us, singing and dancing with joy. She turned around, arms open wide toward Gloria. Auntie Gloria, do I sing well? You sing beautifully. Gloria smiled and bent down to hug her. Alice giggled uncontrollably, and I couldn't help but laugh too. Alice, come here, let Daddy hold you, I said. Gloria replied, it's all right, let me. I really adore this little one. As we turned the corner, I froze at the familiar figure by the door. Haley was standing there quietly. Who knew how long she had been watching us? I took Alice from Gloria's arms. Sorry, we won't be inviting you in today. That's okay. Gloria smiled understandingly. She nodded at Haley, then turned to me. Call me if you need anything. After she left, I held Alice and looked at Haley. Something you need? I just wanted to see you both. Her eyes dropped to Alice and my arms. Haley's eyes were slightly red, her voice hoarse. Can I hold her? I looked at Alice, silently asking. After hesitating, she reached out to Haley. Haley had never held a child before. She was clearly nervous. Her body was stiff, unsure what to do. I sighed inwardly and helped adjust her arms carefully. She gently stroked Alice's hair, studied her little face, and held her tiny fingers, then turned to me, tears in her eyes. Rocky, she's so beautiful. She softly asked Alice, do you know who I am? Alice cupped her face, looking intently. Mommy, you're Mommy. Haley broke into tears and smiled. Yes, I'm Mommy. Our little Alice has grown so big. My chest tightened. I turned to look out the hallway window. Rocky, Haley asked cautiously, can I come in for a bit? When she stepped in, she looked around like it was her first time here. Her gaze finally landed on a photo on the TV stand. It was a picture of Alice and Medican on her first birthday. Chubby and adorable, she sat on my lap. Haley picked it up and gently brushed her fingers over it. These past few years, have you been doing okay? I paused while pouring water. A suspicion rose, and did she regain her memory? Alice eagerly invited Haley to play with her. They started putting a puzzle together. Their heads leaned in, studying the pieces. I stood nearby, silently watching. Suddenly, I realized Alice didn't just inherit her eyes. When they sat together, the resemblance was astonishing. The first time Alice met Haley, she was both curious and fearful. She kept her distance, polite and guarded like with a stranger. Now on their second meeting, they had already become close. After saying Mommy, once, she called it again and again, naturally and warmly. Once the puzzle was done, Alice seemed to remember something. She ran into her room, returning with her sketch pad. Guess what I drew? The drawing was clumsy but charming, with vivid colors. Blue skies, white clouds, green grass, and blooming flowers. Under a bright sun stood a house, and in front a man, a woman, and a twin ponytailed girl holding their hands. Alice pointed to the figures. That's Daddy. That's Alice. And that's Mommy, you. Haley stared at it, smiling through her tears. Alice raised a hand to wipe her tears. Don't cry, Mommy. She tilted her head, peeking down from Haley's lap to the floor. Mommy, are you cold? No, I'm not cold. Then why are you all wet? Wet. Haley glanced down, instinctively touched her clothes. Her face paled slightly. Alice opened her arms. Let me hug you. I'll warm you up. I couldn't bear to watch anymore. I stepped out to the balcony, breathing in the night air. Haley stayed for hours. She tucked Alice into bed, reading her a bedtime story. Alice stared up at her with wide eyes full of alertness. Mommy, will you still be here when I wake up? Haley gently adjusted the blanket and kissed her forehead. She didn't give an answer. I leaned against the doorframe waiting for Alice to fall asleep. When I turned off the lights and was about to shut the door, Alice suddenly opened her eyes again, gripping the blanket, her small face full of worry. Daddy, don't fight with Mommy. Can you two talk nicely? I walked over and patted her head. Okay, go to sleep now. After closing her door, I turned to face Haley. Your memory's back. She looked pale, dazed, silently staring at me. I didn't want to meet her eyes. Her expression made me deeply uneasy. I had vowed countless times not to soften toward her, but whenever she looked fragile like this, it pierced my heart. Haley sat on the sofa for a while, then asked again, Rocky, have you really been okay these years? No, not even a little, but I didn't want her to know. So I said the opposite. Great, actually. I've got money, a house, a kid, a career, life's perfect. Oh. Haley nodded blankly. Oh, what? A rare burst of anger surged up. I reached into my pocket for cigarettes, hesitated, then gave up. We sat in silence. The clock ticked toward midnight. It was late. She still hadn't made any move to leave. Was she planning to pull the same stunt again, stay the night? Just as I was thinking this, Haley clutched her stomach. I'm a little hungry. My stomach hurts. Can I make a snack? She asked softly. She smiled, faintly resigned and gentle. I just wanted to see you both again. Rocky, don't push me away like this. I laughed bitterly. After all these years, I still couldn't say no to her. I tried so hard to build walls between us, but one smile from her and they collapsed. Something instinctive compelled me to treat her kindly again. She ate quietly, washed her own bowl, put on her coat, and got ready to leave. My heart sank. I pressed my lips together and walked her to the door. She gave no explanation, no apology. She wasn't here to make peace or rekindle anything. Then why? To check if I was doing well. I was agitated and couldn't help snapping at her. If you remember now, then don't come back again. Go back to your Tony. She stopped the door from closing with her hand. Rocky, she said, if I told you I had a reason for leaving those 5 years ago, would you forgive me? What kind of reason? I sneered. The sky fell and you had to patch it up. Suddenly, she threw herself into my arms. She held me tightly. I didn't move, didn't hold her back. 1 second, 2, 10 seconds. Then she let go, stepped outside. You should close the door now. She smiled. Don't watch me leave. Go inside first. I hesitated, then shut the door. Right before it clicked shut, I think I heard her whisper, Rocky, goodbye. Suddenly, my chest felt hollow. An unfamiliar ache struck so sharp it made me double over. Clutching my chest, I gasped. Alice ran out of her room holding her plushie. She cried, Mommy's gone. Yes, Mommy's gone back, I said, trying to steady myself. Don't cry, sweetheart. Mommy has her own life too. She left. Alice kept shaking her head. Her cries grew louder and more broken. My heart twisted. I hugged her, tried comforting her for a long time. Nothing worked. Finally, I opened the door again. No one outside. Alice clung to my neck, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. She won't come back, Daddy. Mommy won't come back. It wasn't until deep into the night that she finally fell asleep. Even then, tears still clung to her lashes. I couldn't understand. Why did Alice feel such a strong bond with Haley after just 2 visits? Is blood really that powerful? We were destined to owe her a complete family. I couldn't sleep all night. But the next day, Alice woke up like nothing happened. Everything returned to normal. Haley disappeared from my life completely. Just like when she reappeared, she left without a sound. Even Mary and Tony vanished from my world. No one ever brought them up again. Life returned to peace. Until a month later, a headline exploded across the internet. CEO of H Group suspected of murdering niece arrested by police. I glanced at the headline, didn't click it. After using the restroom, I returned to several missed calls from Gloria. Alice had the flu these days, and I'd been staying home with her. I thought something happened at work. I called Gloria back. First thing she asked was, Rocky, are you all right? I'm fine, I said, sitting down at my desk. Why are you asking that? Gloria hesitated, cautious. About Haley. As she finished the sentence, a notification popped up on my tablet. Human remains discovered in H family's lake. I clicked it instinctively. Several headlines on the hot search bar screamed, breaking. Harriet accused of murder. H Group CEO Harriet arrested. Skeleton discovered in H family's lake, suspected to be Haley. Estimated time of death 5 years ago. It felt like someone struck my temple hard with a hammer. The phone slipped from my palm. Gloria's voice was anxious on the other end. Are you listening? Rocky. Hello, Rocky. I couldn't care about Gloria. My eyes were fixed on the screen. My head was splitting, my vision blurred. Every word turned fuzzy. Even putting on my glasses didn't help. I frantically zoomed in on the screen. The black font twisted on the white background, growing larger and smaller in strange shapes, until all I could see was the bloody red word, breaking. I grabbed the tablet and ran toward the door. Each step felt like walking on clouds. I opened the door just as my neighbor returned. He saw me and jumped back in shock. What's wrong with you? You look pale. I shoved the tablet into his hands, my voice trembling. Help me read this. What is this news? I can't see clearly. He took it and said, you're following this too. It's horrible, isn't it? So scary that Harriet actually killed her own niece, dumped the body in the backyard lake. Who knew even rich people could be such psychopaths? The internet says Harriet lived in that mansion the whole time. Her bedroom window faced the lake. The niece's corpse was in there for 5 years. How is she not afraid of ghosts coming for her in the night? I even saw a photo of the young lady. She was so pretty. A photo of Haley appeared. She wore a black and white suit, long hair draped over her shoulder, smiling faintly. The man's voice kept chattering beside my ear. She was so beautiful and young. To die like that. How tragic. Rumor has it the police drained the lake. Took 2 whole days to gather her bones from the mud. I instinctively stepped back, wanting to cover my ears, to escape this noisy man. But his voice invaded every corner. She was killed first, then dumped. Her hands and feet were tied, weighed down with a big stone. There are blurry pictures online. Just one glance made me lose sleep all night. Stop. I heard my own horse roar. The world spun violently. The space warped. The 4 walls closed in like a moving trap, trying to crush me to pieces. I tried to run, but my legs gave out. I fell forward. The man rushed to catch me. Rocky, what's wrong? His mouth opened and closed in front of me. Harriet killed her niece. The body was in the lake for 5 years. Killed, tied up, dumped with a stone. A metallic taste surged up my throat. I bent over and vomited. A pool of crimson splashed onto the floor. The man panicked and shouted. I pushed him away and screamed. I told you to shut up. Darkness closed in around me. Before I lost consciousness, I saw Haley standing at the door that day, about to leave. Tears shimmered in her eyes. Rocky, I had a long dream. There was a woman I loved deeply. Her name was Haley. She was my wife. She vanished in August, the 2nd year of our marriage. Everyone told me she went abroad with her first love. They even showed me all kinds of proof. I searched everywhere. I asked countless people but couldn't find her. The last to contact me was her aunt, the one she regarded as a mother. At the H family estate, Harriet sat on the sofa cold and proud. I was against you too from the start. What could a poor guy like you give her? When she insisted on leaving with you, I knew she'd come back eventually. A pampered princess like her, always full of unrealistic dreams about love filling the world. She's back now, and choosing Tony, someone from a proper family. That's the right thing. I support her. You two were never meant to be. Don't believe me? Still not giving up? Then let her tell you herself. Harriet made an international call right in front of me. It connected quickly. I heard Haley's voice, the one I hadn't heard for days. I know I'm hurting you. Back then I thought love was everything. Now that I've truly suffered, I understand material things matter most. Please don't cling anymore. Let me go. Rocky, I can't suffer with you. H family's bodyguards dragged me back to New York. Harriet gave me a final warning. Stop pestering us. You've already gained enough over the years. If you keep pushing, don't blame me for being ruthless. How could I believe Harriet? Haley lost her father as a child. Her mother remarried. Harriet raised her, but the only one who truly loved her was her grandfather. When he passed away, he left her a share of the inheritance. Because of that, Haley was betrayed by her own family. They set her up cruelly. I stayed with her through that time, witnessing schemes, betrayals, cold indifference. Eventually, Haley decided to cut ties with the family. She asked me, if I have nothing, can I still be with you? I worried I couldn't give her security, happiness, or comfort, but she was the one whose soul resonated most with mine. We chose each other. This life, it would always be just us. Even if she truly couldn't stay with me, Haley would never leave so cruelly. While I was struggling, while our child was still small, she wouldn't betray like that. So I didn't believe Harriet. I needed to find Haley, my wife. But the H family was too powerful. Harriet used every trick to block me. Later, I even discovered the H family was behind my company's downfall. Then strange people started following me whenever I took our child out. One day after returning from the H estate, I received a message from Haley. Stop looking. Give me 2 years. I'll come back and explain everything. Alice lay in the crib crying. I held her tightly in my arms. I remembered the day we found out Haley was pregnant. She dragged me from one baby store to another. She loved every tiny outfit. The onesie for newborns, the frilly skirts for a 1-year-old, the little cheap how for age 2. Rocky, I want them all. When the baby's born, I'll give her the best in the world. I kept quiet, afraid Alice might be caught in this mess. Sometimes mysterious envelopes arrived at my door. Inside were photos of Haley and Tony, taken from a distance. They were eating, shopping, going to the hospital. Some showed her silhouette, some her back, some blurred frontal shots. The photos came irregularly for 2 years. Then in the 3rd year, they stopped. I stared at them. Fear turned into suspicion, then anger, then resentment, and finally numb calm. I waited for her to return, to give me that promised explanation. Day by day, year by year, Alice could run and jump now. She called her mommy when looking at her picture, but Haley still hadn't returned. She deceived me, betrayed me, abandoned us for a man she barely knew. But I still didn't give up. I secretly contacted Mary. Hi, I'm Rocky. I haven't heard from Haley in a long time. Do you know where she went? Didn't she go abroad with Tony? I slowly opened my eyes. Someone was moving in the room. She sat by my bed. You're awake. I turned to her. Mary, did you find Haley? Alice can call her mom now. Why hasn't she come back? Mary turned away. Tears shimmered at the corner of her eyes. They all tell me now that Haley is dead, killed by her aunt, in the home she grew up in. Her body dumped in the lake she used to play by. Tony helped Harriet cover up the crime. Together they built a massive lie. The police found backup files of the scene surveillance, but they wouldn't let me see the case files or Haley's remains. They told me to be strong for the child. I heard nothing they said. When everyone left, I whispered to Mary, was this your and Haley's plan? She froze, didn't understand. I smiled at her. How could Haley be dead? I saw her just over a month ago. Mary panicked. Rocky, what are you saying? Her reaction wasn't fake. It made me nervous. I pulled out my phone. My hands trembled. I couldn't even type my password correctly. I messaged you, remember? Haley came back. You and Tony met her. But when I opened the chat, all records were gone. Photos, videos, texts. Even the footage of Haley at my door that day. Gone. I searched for her hospital call. The police notice from that day. Nothing. Everything gone. Rocky. Mary barely dared speak. I grabbed her hand suddenly. She jumped. I raised my voice. A month ago you and Tony came to New York. I introduced you to the amnesiac Haley. Did you forget? Her face paled. I'm going to get the doctor. Mary's confusion didn't seem fake. Panic overwhelmed me. I pushed her aside and searched for Gloria's number. It's fine. It wasn't just me who saw Haley. Gloria saw her. Alice saw her. Someone will prove it. She couldn't be dead. She was right there. But on the phone, Gloria said, Rocky, I never saw Haley. I couldn't believe it. Are you brain damaged? In the office, I introduced you. She said weird things, remember? Gloria went quiet. Rocky, are you sure you weren't hallucinating? I held my aching head, paced the room restlessly. She came back. She was fine. Why does everyone say they don't remember? Are you all lying to me? Gloria, please check the building's security footage. Or ask the police. People lie, but electronics don't. Before I finished, Mary snatched my phone. Her eyes were red. She pressed me down. Calm down, Rocky. You still have Alice. I shoved her away, screaming, how can I calm down? I can't take being lied to again. 5 years. Isn't that enough? Why pretend to forget? She came back. She clearly came back. If that corpse was her, then who did I see? Tell me. I returned to New York. I searched everywhere for traces of her return, but there was nothing, not even a clue. Even the child looked at me blankly. Mommy came back when, terrified, I let go of the child and rushed into her room, frantically searching, and found that drawing of the three of us. Alice. My voice trembled as I pointed to the picture. That night Alice came back. She played with you, told you bedtime stories. Don't you remember? She clutched my leg in fear and cried, Daddy, what's wrong with you? I collapsed to the floor, trying to recall every scene after Haley came back. The more I thought, the more I couldn't remember any detail, as if it had all been a ridiculous dream. She had only returned in my imagination. I hunched over, pressing against the ache in my chest, refusing to believe it. How could it be fake? She ate the meal I cooked. She held me in her arms. How could that be fake? Alice hugged me, crying loudly. Papa, Papa. I clenched my teeth so tightly, afraid that if I opened my mouth, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from wailing. Haley, Haley, I searched for you for 5 years, waited for you 5 years, but they told me you were dead. I didn't believe it. How could you be dead? I made a request. I wanted to see Harriet. Harriet was formally charged. She was domineering, arrogant, and short-tempered. She craved absolute control. She claimed it wasn't premeditated. She said it was a moment of rage. She threw a heavy ashtray at Haley's back. It struck the back of her head. She collapsed. Blood spilled everywhere. Her body twitched twice, and then no more breath. Harriet didn't call for help. She said she panicked. She was too scared to call the police, too scared to find a doctor. When she realized Haley was no longer breathing, she impulsively decided to dispose of the body. Tony, her lover, witnessed the entire thing. He helped her destroy the evidence. Together they created a lie that fooled everyone. After all, Haley had already left the social circle. She had nothing, no longer a wealthy heiress. Her husband had no power. No one would question her disappearance. Harriet believed she could cover the sky with one hand. So arrogant. She threw the body into the lake right outside the bedroom window. She wore handcuffs, sat in the chair and smiled at me, carefree. So what if I hit her? What good is regret now? I couldn't take it. I rushed at her and beat her furiously. She saw you as a mother. You monster. How could you do that to her? The officers held me down tightly, my face pressed against the cold table. I screamed hoarsely. She was terrified of the dark. How could you leave her at the bottom of the lake for 5 years? The last message Haley sent me before she disappeared was, I'm so hungry. I want to go home and eat the food you made. In those years I couldn't find her. I stayed quietly with our child and waited, but Haley's soul was trapped in the dark water, screaming in pain all those years. No one could hear, no one could see. She couldn't come back. I couldn't wait for her. Not anymore. Justice takes time. I poured everything I had into making Harriet and Tony pay. The strength that had kept me going vanished the moment I learned Haley had died. All that remained was an empty shell of a man. I drifted through each day. Alice clung to me day and night. I wanted to reassure her, tell her daddy was okay, but my mouth opened and nothing came out. While waiting for the verdict, I sat at home with my child, staring blankly. Over and over I recalled those vivid real memories of Haley's return and the regret, how I pushed her away, ignored her out of years of resentment. Our first home was a small 80-square-meter apartment by the sea. Everything inside was decorated lovingly by her hands. We spent the happiest, most peaceful days of our lives there. When Alice turned 3, we moved for my expanding business, but I left the place untouched. The moment I opened the door, the past rushed in like a tide. Rocky, how about we put a photo frame here by the TV stand? The sunlight is so nice. In winter mornings, we can sit on the window seat. Maybe we can get a cat. Rocky, I think I'm pregnant. Who do you think the baby will look like? I ran my fingers across the old furniture, hearing her voice in my ears. There's nothing I'm hiding from you. I'm just a bit tired lately. If the company really shuts down, I'll earn money after my confinement. You just stay home and be a softy dad. I need to go out for a bit. Don't wait for me. So hungry. I want to go home and eat your cooking. I fled the old happy nest. On the way back, I got distracted and drove straight into a ditch. The violent crash knocked me out. Soon after, I woke to urgent, anxious calls. When I opened my eyes, a familiar face appeared in my blurry vision. Haley was holding me, sobbing. I reached out to grab her, but my hand passed right through her. Come back, please. I miss you so much. The days waiting for you to come home were unbearable. Choking back tears, I said, Haley, I waited 5 years. I don't want to wait a lifetime. Please don't leave me again. I beg you. She knelt by my side, cupped my face, and kissed me. Tears dripped onto my cheeks. She said, I'm not leaving. I've always been here. You just couldn't see me. Rocky, you have to hold on. Alice has no mother anymore. She can't lose her father too. I gripped her hand tightly, wanting to say more. The sound of the ambulance grew louder. My eyelids grew heavy. I passed out. I stayed in the hospital for over 2 weeks. Friends and family came to visit. All of them had heard about Haley. They gently reminded me I still had Alice, that I had to stay strong and fight for justice. Lying in bed, I barely managed a faint smile. Staring at the ceiling, I suddenly recalled that extra memory. Going to the hospital to find Haley. My heart had pounded all the way. Even my hands trembled at the wheel. Only when I saw her and confirmed it was really her did my frantic heart begin to calm. So when someone loses their mind, even illusions can seem real. The day I was discharged, a neighbor came to visit. He was watching a video. The noisy voice caught my attention. Parallel worlds, ghosts, vanished classmates. I opened my eyes and turned my head. What's that about? Oh, someone posted online. They remembered a childhood friend who disappeared while playing hide and seek. No one else remembered this person. People are saying the world has bugs, parallel universes, strange things always happening. I lost interest, closed my eyes again. Suddenly, Haley's words and my hallucinations rang crystal clear in my mind. To me, we had just gotten married. Just call me Haley, we're close enough. How have you been these years? Close the door. Don't watch me leave. Alice accidentally knocked over the frame near the TV. The photo fell out. I got up, pulled her aside, and picked it up. 3 stick figure people, holding hands, a little girl with pigtails in the middle, and a line of familiar handwriting burned into my eyes. Don't miss me. Live well. Love you. Love, Alice. Haley. My mind roared. It wasn't a hallucination. I wasn't crazy. She had really come back. I cried and laughed at once. Turns out we really did see each other for the last time in this life. A small warm hand pressed against my face. Don't cry, Daddy. Alice will hug you. The lawsuit dragged on for a long time, but in the end we received the just verdict we had been hoping for. Harriet was sentenced to death, and Tony was imprisoned for aiding and abetting. On a sunny, clear day, I received Haley's ashes. My tall, beautiful lover now rested in a small urn in my arms. I lowered my head, kissed the cold urn, smiling through my tears. Let's go, I'm taking you home now. Alice held up a small bouquet of daisies. Mommy, let's go home. A breeze swept by, gently trembling the petals, as if she were responding. Extra chapter. No one seemed to notice. She was still breathing. When thrown into the water, Haley was conscious. The icy lake swallowed her up in an instant, her limbs tightly bound. Gravity dragged her into the abyss. Water flooded her mouth and nose, and she struggled in vain. 10 seconds, maybe more, maybe less. Her consciousness slipped away as she sank deeper, yet her soul seemed to float upward. In that moment between life and death, a soft light emerged from the darkness. A familiar voice called her name. Haley. She abruptly opened her eyes, finding herself floating in a hospital room. Rocky stood in front of her, his face expressionless, and on the bed, another version of herself lay there, listening to their conversation. Haley realized it was 5 years later. She followed the other version of herself and Rocky, confused by what was happening, until they met Tony. The other her fainted from shock. A powerful force pulled Haley into that body. Inside it, she received a different set of memories. The two Haleys began to speak within the same body. Who are you? I'm Haley. Then who am I? You're also Haley. Two Haleys existed in the same world. One a ghost transported from the moment of death 5 years ago, and the other, a Haley who had crossed over from a parallel universe. They exchanged memories, saw the different paths their lives had taken. The Haley from the parallel world was newly married to Rocky. She hadn't lost her memory, nor was she delusional. But in this timeline, Haley and Rocky were already separated by life and death. The ghost Haley bitterly laughed, wondering if her resentment had summoned her other self. I am me, and yet not me. The Haley from the other world accepted the memories and followed Mary back to retrieve the body and seek justice. The ghost Haley guided everything, pointing out where the attack occurred, where the cameras were, who the accomplices were. Everything progressed smoothly until the police finally recovered her remains. At that moment, it felt like an invisible hand erased the traces that the other Haley had ever been in this world. The world automatically repaired the glitch. Now it was Mary who discovered the truth in the evidence. The case continued, and Haley saw the future unfold, but she never got the chance to tell him that she had briefly awakened in the body of her parallel self. She returned home, saw the child she longed for. She held her tightly, unwilling to let go. She memorized her daughter's beautiful little face, so much like Rocky, yet also like herself, just as she had imagined. She asked, "Do you know who I am?" Alice cupped her face in her small hands and answered earnestly, "Your mommy." In that moment, tears welled up uncontrollably through the surface. Her child had recognized her. She asked how Rocky had been. Hearing he was doing well brought her comfort and also sorrow. There were so many things she wanted to say, but she couldn't. She was now merely a passerby in the life she had once dreamed of. She thought, is there anything left undone? Oh right, the day she died she hadn't eaten all day. She was starving. Her stomach ached, and all she could think about was Rocky's cooking. Now sitting here, her stomach finally full. Even her cold body felt warm. Haley felt content. She felt happiness. Her consciousness was drifting. It was time to leave. She gazed longingly at Rocky, unwilling to go. So much pain in her heart. She longed to tell him, but she couldn't speak a word. At their final parting, she hugged Rocky, just as she used to before leaving the house. Then she said, "Close the door. Don't watch me go. Don't watch me leave, so we don't have to say goodbye. You won't have to watch my departing back. In the final moment of my life, I saw you and our child. I am content. We've said our farewell, so don't grieve too much. One day we'll meet again. If you can, find me a sunny spot for my grave. It's so dark and cold beneath the water. I'm a little scared." Rocky, as the light faded, she closed her eyes, falling into eternal darkness. The end. If you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.